Good afternoon, everyone. Hmm. Okay, let's get into what's actually moving in your life. Pay attention, close attention, because there's something happening in your energetic field right now that deserves your full awareness. Not your anxiety, not your desperate hope, but your grounded, present, clear eyed attention. There's momentum building, real momentum, the kind that comes from sustained effort, finally reaching critical mass, the kind that happens when you've been doing work that didn't show immediate results, but that's been accumulating power beneath the surface, and that momentum, it's approaching a tipping point, a threshold where internal becomes external, where invisible work shows up as visible outcome, where energy you've been investing starts producing tangible return. Stay with me, because I'm not here to tell you that magic is going to happen regardless of what you do. I'm not here to promise that the universe is going to drop everything you've ever wanted in your lap over the next few weeks. What I'm here to tell you is this: you're entering a window of high potential, a period where conditions are aligned in ways that make certain things more possible than they've been, a time frame where what you've been building toward can actually manifest if you show up for it. But that if matters, that if is everything. Can you feel this shift in the air around your life? Drop a comment if you're already sensing this energy, because here's what I'm picking up on about what's actually changing. Multiple areas of your life have been in development mode, in progress, in that frustrating space where you can see what you're working toward, but you're not there yet. And you've been staying consistent even without seeing results. You've been making choices that align with where you're trying to go, even when those choices don't produce immediate validation. You've been holding vision even when current reality doesn't match it. You've been maintaining standards even when maintaining them has been lonely or difficult. And all of that, it's created foundation, it's built structure. It's established patterns that are about to start producing visible outcomes. Not because you've waited long enough, not because you've paid some cosmic dues, but because that's how momentum works. It builds slowly, invisibly, and then it reaches a point where it becomes visible all at once, where multiple things shift simultaneously, where what looked like nothing happening suddenly looks like everything happening, and you're at that point or approaching it rapidly. Does this match what you've been experiencing? Let me know in the comments, because let me get specific about what areas might be shifting. For some of you, this is professional, career, work, how you earn, and what you do with your skills and energy. There's been stagnation or frustration or feeling undervalued or stuck in a role that doesn't fit who you've become. And that's about to break open, not through passive waiting, but through you being positioned for opportunities that are about to appear, through doors opening that have been closed, through recognition coming for work you've been doing without receiving credit. The shift might look like an offer, a promotion, a new role, a client or project that changes your trajectory, a conversation that opens an unexpected path, and it's going to feel sudden even though you've been preparing for it for months or years. For others, this is relational, love, partnership, how you connect and who you're connecting with. there's been loneliness or disappointment or settling for less than what you know you deserve or waiting for someone to show up differently, and that's about to shift either through someone entering who actually matches your energy or through someone present finally stepping up, or through you gaining clarity that allows you to make a clean choice about what you're no longer available for. The shift might look like a meeting, a conversation, a revelation, a decision, um, a beginning or an ending that's been pending, and it's going to create movement where there's been stagnation. For others, still, this is about location or lifestyle, where you live, how you live. The physical container of your daily existence. There's been feeling stuck or limited or constrained by circumstances that have prevented you from making changes you've wanted to make, and that's about to become possible. Resources are aligning, circumstances are shifting, barriers that seemed permanent are dissolving. The shift might look like an opportunity to move, a change in financial situation that creates new options, a resolution to something that's been keeping you stuck, and it's going to feel like freedom after constraint. Which area feels most activated for you? Comment below and let me know, because here's what you need to understand about these next few weeks. They're not magical. They're not going to produce change through passive hoping. They're not going to deliver outcomes just because you want them, but they are potent. They're high leverage. They're a window where your actions can produce disproportionate results because the conditions are aligned. Think of it like this. You've been planting seeds in frozen ground for a long time. Nothing grew, nothing sprouted. You kept planting anyway, and now the ground is thawing. The conditions are right. The seeds that were dormant are about to break surface, but you still have to tend them. You still have to show up. You still have to do the work of nurturing what's emerging. The difference is now your effort actually produces visible growth. Now your consistency translates into tangible outcome. Now your choices compound into momentum instead of just maintaining baseline. Does this make sense? Can you see the difference between passive waiting and active participation? Let me know in the comments, because I want to talk about what's required from you during this window. Clarity. You need to know what you're actually working toward, what you actually want, what actually aligns with your values and your vision, because opportunities are going to appear. And if you're not clear, you might grab the wrong ones, might say yes to things that look good but don't actually serve you, might mistake movement for progress. So get clear, get specific, get honest with yourself about what you're building and why. Courage. You need to be willing to take action even when you're not completely certain, even when you don't have all the information, even when there's risk involved, because this window is going to present choices, and some of them are going to require you to step into uncertainty, to trust yourself more than you're comfortable trusting, to move before you feel completely ready. And if you wait for total certainty, if you hesitate too long, if you let fear make your decisions, you'll miss the window. The momentum will pass. The opportunities will go to someone who is willing to act. Discernment. You need to be able to tell the difference between genuine opportunity and distraction, between what's actually aligned and what just feels exciting. Because not everything that shows up during a high potential window is meant for you. Some things are tests, some things are distractions. Some things look good but would take you off course. So you need to assess, to check in with yourself, to feel into whether something resonates at a gut level or just appeals to your surface desires. Can you bring these qualities? Can you show up with clarity, courage, and discernment? Drop a comment if you're ready, because here's what else I'm sensing about this time frame. There's going to be a moment of decision, a point where you have to choose, where staying on the fence is no longer an option, where you have to commit to a direction even without perfect information. And that moment, it's probably coming soon, within this window, within these next few weeks. And what you choose, how you choose, whether you choose from fear or from alignment, that's going to set the trajectory for the next phase of your life. Not permanently, not irreversibly. You're not going to ruin your life if you make the wrong choice, but you will create either momentum in the direction you actually want to go, or momentum in a direction that takes you further from it. So when that moment comes, when you're standing at the fork, when you have to decide, choose from your knowing, not from your fear, not from what others think you should do, not from what feels safe or familiar, from what actually aligns with who you're becoming and what you're building. Have you been avoiding a decision that needs to be made? Let me know in the comments, because I want to address what might be happening in your body right now. You might feel activated, anxious, that jittery energy of sensing something's building but not knowing exactly what or when. And that's normal. That's your nervous system responding to the charge in the field, to the potential that's present, to the gap between current state and possible future state. But I need you to work with that energy instead of letting it work against you, because anxiety and excitement are physiologically similar. The difference is interpretation, how you frame what you're feeling. If you interpret the activation as threat, it becomes anxiety. If you interpret it as possibility, it becomes excitement. So when you notice that charged feeling, when you feel restless or activated, name it differently. I'm energized by what's possible. I'm preparing for opportunity. I'm in a high potential window and my system knows it. Small shifts in framing create different internal states, different capacities for action. Can you make that shift? Can you work with the energy? Comment below if you're willing to try, because here's what I really need you to hear. These next few weeks aren't going to be a fairy tale. They're not going to be effortless manifestation where everything falls into your lap, but they are going to be significant. They're going to contain moments, opportunities, choices that matter, that shape what comes next. And if you show up for them, if you stay present and conscious and willing to act from alignment, your life can look noticeably different a month from now. Not completely transformed, not unrecognizable, but shifted in ways that matter, shifted toward what you've been working for, shifted in the direction of your actual vision, shifted into more alignment with who you're becoming. And that's worth paying attention to. That's worth bringing your best energy to. That's worth showing up for fully. So here's what I'm asking you to do. For the next few weeks, be present, actually present, not anxiously scanning for signs, not desperately hoping for magic, but grounded, aware, paying attention to what's actually showing up. Notice opportunities, even small ones, even ones that don't look exactly like you imagined, even ones that require you to stretch. Say yes to what aligns, even when it's scary, even when you're not totally ready, even when it means stepping into uncertainty. Say no to what doesn't. Even when it looks appealing, even when others think you should grab it, even when saying no means continuing to wait for what's actually right, stay connected to your knowing. Check in with yourself regularly. Make sure your choices are coming from your center, not from fear or external pressure. And trust. Trust that you've been preparing for this. Trust that you're ready even when you don't feel ready. Trust that you can handle whatever shows up. Can you commit to that for the next few weeks? Let me know in the comments. Because here's the truth. Your whole life might not change. That's hyperbole. That's content designed to grab attention. But something can change. Something significant. Something that matters to you. If you show up for it, if you stay conscious, if you make choices from alignment instead of from fear, the potential is there. The window is open. The momentum is building. What you do with it, that's up to you. So be present, be ready, be willing. The next few weeks matter, not because they're magical, but because you're positioned for something, and positioning only matters if you act on it. You've got this. You're ready. Now show up for it. I don't sell futures. I build architects. No predictions, just the raw truth for the tough ones. Stay magic. Stay in the now.